Let's start in 2 minutes. We'll wait for everybody to join and then we'll just start. Can you guys easily read what's written on the screen? Like, or do I need to zoom a bit more?
No, ma'am, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so let's just start now. So as I said, I'm gonna first discuss the first thing you're taking is multi-threading, as you guys requested. Uh, so how I want you to first, I want you to understand like what's there are two things in Java. There's multitasking and there's multi-threading. So what is multitasking is let's say for example you have your Word document open, you're typing something over there, and the same time you're listening to music at in like Spotify or something, or like just have your YouTube opened like alongside and you're listening to music. So two different tasks are happening at the same time. This is called multitasking. And what is multi-threading? Let's say you are writing a document in MS Word, and you know it has that feature of spell checking. It's check your spelling while you're writing. So while you are typing, it is also checking for the spellings. Are you understanding? It's doing both the things at the same time in one program. Let's say that it's one program, right? The MS Word is like a complete program, it's complete package, and it is checking your spellings while you're typing. So that is multi-threading. Did you guys understand the difference that I'm trying to portray?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you did. And did you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, did you understand the difference between multitasking and multi-threading? It can either be a yes or it can be a no. I'm not expecting a third answer here. Okay, so I got one yes. So I'm just gonna move ahead with that because others I have no idea if you guys understood it or not, and you're not even telling me. So, okay, that's multitasking and threading. Now, you need to understand that in Java, everything is a thread. Okay, a Java, not, I'm sorry, I'm not, everything is not a thread. A Java program would have at least one thread. So, as you can see on the screen, main is a thread. All right, main is a thread, and like, let me show you how. Like, let me make a mistake in this. Okay, now see what the error says when we run it. um, Exception in thread main. Do you guys see this? It says exception in thread main. So main is one of your threads, and you can have multiple threads. You can have multiple threads in a program. Main is one of your threads. And why do you use it? Why do you use multi-threading is, let's say you have a program, and in your program you like, it's a simple program, let's say, but you have an array, you did arrays last time, of 500 numbers. You have 500 numbers in an array, and you want to multiply each number by 2, let's say. Okay, you want to multiply each number by 2. Now what happens, your program will start working, and it will keep on taking one number from that array and multiply it by 2 and store it back. So that program will take approximately, let's say, 8 seconds to work, the whole thing, to go through those 500 numbers, multiplied by 2 and store it back. Now to increase the speed, I hope you guys understand what like cores are. You have Intel cores, you have 4-core processor, and you have, Octa and that stuff. So I think that I'm assuming you guys understand that cores are like different. You have different cores that can work at a time. So single thread will occupy one core. You cannot have that one program of 500 elements taking different cores. This is just theoretical. Like, taking a single core means it is only using like one part of your core. It's not taking the whole advantage of the whole thing. But what we want is, as the program is taking longer, it's taking almost 8 seconds to function. So we want to break it down in a way that it occupies all the cores that are available, so it will work faster. So what we do, we make threads. We will make different threads in your program, and what we'll do is we will run them at the same time, because multiple threads can run together. So we can have one thread running, 1 to 100 numbers. You can have second thread which will be multiplying, 101 to 200, and then next one doing 201 to 300. That way we can have like 5 threads, and we can run it at once, and it will function more fast. It will like reduce the time by 5 times, because all the threads will work at once. I will show you a working example and you will understand. You can even understand it in a way. It was a really great example I came across. That was, you guys use Amazon or Flipkart or app, those kind of apps, right? They have a search bar. Now let's say you're searching something, you put something in the search bar. So what's going to happen, as you press enter, that data goes to the server, where, the Amazon server, if you're using Amazon, if you go to the Amazon server, and then it will search whatever. If you wrote shoes, it will search for shoes, and then it will come back and show you the data. So that will take some time, right? That will not happen instantly. It will go to the server, take the data, and come back. So that time, if you are not using threads, what will happen is your program will be frozen. Your program will be doing nothing. Your app will be doing nothing. It will just be waiting for the data to come back. But we don't want that. We want the program to be still working while the data is fetching from the server. So that's where we use thread. We use thread, and we make it work, separately from the program, while your whole program is also working. So that multiple things can happen at the same time inside your program. So that is multi-threading. It even reduces, first of all, it's good for functionality. You can have multiple things working at the same time. Nothing is waiting. If one thread is taking longer, the other can start executing at the same time. And the second part is, it reduces your time. If you have a single thread, like you have the main thread doing a lot of calculation, it will take time to work, right? It will take time. So you can break it into different threads. And those different threads can work at one time and give you whatever result you want at a reduced, it will take lesser time. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? Do you guys like understand?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I didn't understand why main should be a thread. Means if multitasking, I understand, and
May,
multi-threading also. But main thread कैसे हो सकता है? I don't
mhm.
understand.
See, in a Java program, or in any, especially in Java, you're doing Java, let's just stick to that. There is always going to be one thread. You cannot have a program with zero threads. Thread what does thread mean? Thread is nothing but a part of your program, right? So you cannot have a program with zero parts. It's always going to have one thread. If you make more than one thread, if you make two threads, that is called multi-threading. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Main is a yeah, now I hope you understand. You're always going to have one thread because thread is nothing but a part of the program which can be run, simultaneously. You can run it simultaneously. At the same time, you can run different threads. That's what the power of a thread is. But there's always going to be one thread which is going to be working. You cannot have zero threads. Zero threads means an empty program. There's nothing happening. So
मैम
main is your first. Yes.
एक से ज्यादा भी हो सकता है क्या?
हाँ, एक से ज्यादा थ्रेड होने का मतलब ही मल्टी थ्रेडिंग है. जब हम मल्टी
Yes.
थ्रेडिंग इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं, दैट मीन्स वी आर हैविंग मोर देन वन थ्रेड्स इन अ प्रोग्राम. अभी वी विल डू इट. आई विल शो यू हाउ यू कैन डू इट. ओके. So let's move on to the example, and I hope that will make it way more clear. You will be able to see what I'm trying to tell you. So I'll just so I made this is your class, and I want you guys to notice one thing which I've seen you guys might end up, this is a very common error you can make. You see, I have 1, 2, 3 Java files over here, right? This is called app, this is called array examples, and this is called thread example. Okay. The file app, which is called capital app.java, it has the class app over here. The thread example has the class thread example. So your name of your file and your class name should be the same. If these are not matching, it will throw an error. Okay. So one of your class name and the name of the file should be the same. So keep that in mind. Like this file name and this class name should be the same. Okay. So I will explain what is happening over here. This is also what I want to discuss later. But first, let's see threading. So this is your this is a class. It has multiple classes over here. Okay, in this file we have multiple classes. And first, I'm going to remove. I'm going to show you simply. I'll get rid of this and comment this out. Okay. So what we are doing is we have this class which is called thread example, and it just puts thread example, just showing that we are inside this class. And then we have two different classes. One is called hi and the other one is called hello. It does nothing. It is just printing hi 5 times, and this is just printing hello 5 times. That's all it is doing. It's doing nothing very crazy. This just prints hi 5 times, it prints hello 5 times. Now these are not threads right now. These are just your normal classes. This is not like threading is not happening over here. Okay. This whole thing just have this one thread, which is your, this one, which will be executing first. I'll just execute it and then you can see it better. I'll just all I want you to understand is the structure of this program. We have this class which is creating objects to these classes so that it can call it. This hi, and then this is the class name, and then you give it whatever. You can name this whatever you want. Give it a name equals to new hi. So it creates an instance of this class. And why we're creating an instance of this class? Why are we doing this? So that we can call the function which is inside this class. Okay. By doing this, we can write this hi dot run, and it will call this run method over here. And same way we can write hello dot run, and it will call this thing. If I don't write this, these will not work. Okay. If I don't write this, only this thread example will print it and nothing else will be printed. Okay, so I'm going to run the program real quick and let's see what output are we going to get. You see, First we got this hello world. This hello world is from here. From I'll just get rid of it also so that it doesn't get too confusing right now. Okay. Ignore the hello world for now. So what I wanted to see is we came over here. First thing we got was thread example that we inside this class. Then we called hi dot run, right? So it went inside this run and printed hi 5 times. Sorry, 4 times. It's running from 1 and less than 5. So printed hi 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we called hello and printed hello 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times because it was from 0 to less than 5. I'll just make it 1, 2, so it's just 4 and 4 times. Okay, are you guys understanding this? It went, and if I change the order, let's say if I write hello dot run first and then I write hi dot run, let's see what happens then, right? If I do this and I run it, see, then we got the hellos first and we got the hi after that. Why did that happen? Because we called the hello dot run function first and then we called the hi dot run. What happens is first it comes inside this, the class, and it printed this third example showing that it's inside this class. Then it said hello dot run, so it goes to hello and goes inside this run, runs whatever is, make like this function executes, goes back over here, and then it goes to hi dot run, and then it does whatever is in here. Okay, now over here all the output it shows that's like, because it's been compiled, this prints at once. It's like you cannot see that it is actually, printing one by one because this is a really small program. It is not taking that much time. It's just printing everything at once. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make these classes, are hi and the hello, into threads. What are we going to do? We're going to make them into threads, and how we do it is, we will write over here extends thread. Now thread is already a predefined class in Java. By writing extends thread, we can use whatever methods are present in the thread class in this function now. So this class has become, a child class of this thread. We read about, wait, what do you call it? I'm forgetting. Inheritance. We studied inheritance. We talked about inheritance in our earlier classes. The oops object inheritance means that we have this thread class, and now hi can use whatever methods are present in this thread class. Okay. So, and then we're going to do this. I'll also explain this. Give me a second. What we did, now thread has a lot of function. Thread has a function start, which like starts a thread has a function sleep, which will make a thread, stop for, this time is in milliseconds. So a minute has 1,000, I'm guessing 1,000 milliseconds, so 500 will be like half a minute or something, or maybe it's something else. So but this time is in milliseconds. And what will it do? It will stop the thread. So it will run once, it will print hi, then it will stop the thread for 500 milliseconds, and then it will work again. Now because this is a thread, we can do that. We can make it start, we can make it stop, we can make it sleep. You should not actually be stopping a thread. It's not a good habit of, not a good thing to do. A thread will, you should let it stop itself. So you can run a thread. What happens when you write thread dot start, it, goes, it starts, and then it straight away goes to the run method inside it. That's why we've named it run. I will show you once. First let me print it now, see what will happen if I run it. See, now you see the highs are printing one by one. It didn't print it all at once go, at one go. Did you see that? I hope you were able to see it. We see. Let's run it. See, it's printing one by one by one by one. Even you see the gap over here, but it's very small because this is a very, a small program. If there's like huge calculation, will take time. So you see that it's printing one by one by one by one. And that's taking time. Like it takes 500 milliseconds. So if you have an actual program, you don't want it to be waiting for that much time and like kind of doing nothing. So I'm going to even make this into a thread. We can write extends and we can write thread and have the same thing happening to this one too. And this try and catch, what it is you use try and catch when you think that something can throw an error. Like there is a certain part of your code that you think might cause an error in your program. So you put it into this try. It's like literally like what it says. So it says try thread.sleep, and if this throws an error, if this gives an error, then you will like execute what's inside this catch part. Right now we've not written anything because we know like nothing's gonna happen, and I know that it will work. But you can have something happening inside this, so it will not make your program stop. It will just, if this thing causes an error, it will just ignore all of this part and just go inside the catch part. So that's when you use try and catch. So let's start debugging and see. Now you see that they are, it's taking significant amount of time to work, right? So now what, actually this was like a really nice video that I found, and you guys, like, I will share it with you guys. See it. It's like it is provided like everything in a really, easy way. Like it's very easy going, and you can, easily understand the examples, and everything is really good over there. So I'll show you guys that. So now what we're gonna do is, instead of calling run, we're gonna say hi dot start, because now it is a thread. Just see. Now I hope you're seeing what is happening is it's printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you having 5 highs? Yes. So you guys see what is happening. Now it is not waiting. It just, if there's like, it's, if it, the thread is taking too much time, it just goes to the second thread. It does not wait for one thread to finish, and then it will, for like one part of the program to finish, and then it will go to the next part. It is just printing it one after the other because it doesn't want to wait. It's not waiting, it's just working one after the another. So that's how you will you can implement multi-threading so that your program doesn't wait for no reason. I'll just go over it once more so that it's easier for you to understand. I will share that video with you guys like right after this session, so that you can watch it, and do watch it. It's actually very, the person has explained it in like such an easy way, and if you understand the basics a little bit, the examples are like really good, and it's very very easy to understand the way he tells it. We have this class which is thread example, and then we had these two other classes which was hi and hello, and they were not threads before, they were just normal classes, and they were printing hi 4 times and it was printing hello 4 times. Okay. Now, what the problem was, like this was just printing hi and hello, so it was not taking that much time. But if we have, maybe a situation where this will take almost half a second to execute, we noticed that there was significant amount of pause in the output that we were getting. It was like printing high, waiting, and then the next thread, it took 5 seconds to print these high, and then the next thread, our hello, was just waiting over there for for 5 seconds. It was doing nothing. It was just waiting for the highs to be printed, and then it will start printing the hello, right? Which is not good. We want it to be executed as fast as it can. So what we did, we made these into threads. So how did we make it into thread? We used this thread class, which is already, in Java. So we just wrote extends thread. Now this became a thread, and then we wrote extend threads over here. Now thread has different methods inside it. One of the method is thread.sleep, and you can give time in milliseconds. And what will it do? It will make your thread like how you sleep your laptop or PCs, and right? It will make the thread pause for 500 milliseconds, and then it will start again. Okay, and you put it in a try catch box, because if by chance thread.sleep gives an error, the program will not shut down. It will not, just abruptly stop working. It will just ignore the thread.sleep part and move on to, working whatever inside the catch, these catch brackets, whatever is inside over here. Okay, we did that to both of them, and we noticed it's just, as it was not a thread, as we were not calling it as a thread, we were still just running it as a normal uh, class. We were just writing hi.run like normally. What was happening? It was the hello class was just waiting for the high class to stop working, then it will go on to work. So what we did, as now these have become threads, we can write hi.start. What does it do? It starts the thread. When we write hi.start, now because this is a thread, it starts the thread, and as soon as the compiler reads hi.start, it searches for this run method. It searches for this run method. If this run method is not over here, if I rename this as something like, let's say, a, we just say this, it would probably not work. See, the high part didn't show up because there was no run. There was no run method over there. So to make a thread work, you need to have a run method over here. And I'm talking about these threads that you write yourself. I'm not talking about the threads which are already like the main thread. It's completely different. You'd never call it. The compiler calls the main itself. So don't focus on that. We're talking about the threads that you can write in code, that you write yourself. So as soon as we start, it will search for the run method and start executing it, and then it will start executing it, and it will itself manage whatever time it takes. If one thread is taking too much time, it will start working the other thread at the same time, and you can see it in the output how it's being printed simultaneously, and not, you know, first the highs and hellos. It's printing hi, hello, hi, hello. So did you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you? Sakshi ma'am, do you understand multi-threading now? Like, is it a bit clear? It is great. I will share that. I know this way, how online teaching way, it kind of get a bit, um, it can get a bit confusing. So I will share that video with you. You can easily pause, rewind, go over it again and again. It's taken the same examples. I was giving examples from that video itself. I found it was like a really, really, really good example, like a really nice video. So you guys can have a watch it once, and if still you don't understand, if you want to ask any questions right now, you can go ahead, ask me, like, why we are using multi-threading. We use see, you noticed when we were not using multi-threading, when I wrote this thread.sleep, I did not write this because it's doing something, it has to do something with multi-threading. I was just showing you that if this is a class and it has, it's doing some calculation. Right now, we're just simply printing hi, but it can be doing a greater calculation or doing some, a bigger function, which takes half a second to, perform. Let's say it takes half a second to perform. So we notice that when the the other classes, what was the other class? That hello class was just waiting for the high class to finish working, and then it will start working. So for significant 5 seconds till all the high were printed one by one by one, it was just waiting, and after that it will start printing hello. But that is not what we want. It's wasting our time. It's wasting the time when at the same time we could be, making both the classes work. We are just wasting time by waiting for one class to finish working, then it will go to the other class, and then it will start working. So that's where we use threads. What does a thread do? Multiple threads can work at the same time. Multiple threads can work at the same time. So when we used threading, we noticed that the hello class was not waiting for the high class to finish. It was just working at the same time. That's why we were getting the output hi, hello, hi, hello, hi, hello. All right. It is so that our program executes more efficiently. It takes less time, and it doesn't stop for one portion of the program to execute, and then it will start executing the next portion. Do you understand it now? Okay. And Shweta ma'am, did your program work that day we were working? I didn't get, you didn't tell me.
Yes, ma'am. That was run and successfully.
That was unsuccessfully. Okay, great. I was worried about that. Everybody's like try using, like move on to using maybe NetBeans or Eclipse or VS Code instead of online compilers, because they can cause error for no reason.
Ma'am, I heard about Eclipse, but not used sometime. Is it a editor for JDK?
Yeah, it's like your visual editor. You can use Eclipse, you can use VS Code as I am using, or you can download NetBeans. Easiest way is just go and Google how to use Eclipse for Java. It will give you like really nice step by step process, and you can just follow it and download it, and then it works the same way. It's like not there's like not more difference between how I'm writing code over here. It just makes your running your code easier and faster. Like the online compilers, they're just online compilers. They're being coded differently. They're just coded files, web files. So that's why if the backend is not that strong, then it will keep on giving you weird errors, like how one of them doesn't support scanner. You cannot use scanner over there, and then some other have different issues. So that's why move on to using your own editors, your text editors or whatever, or just run it in your command line, write your code in maybe Notepad or something. So try moving on to doing that. Now, okay, so I hope multi-threading is clear. It is like a complex, you will not be using it right now, but yes, these are good things to know. When you move ahead, you should be using all the OOPS concept in your programs when you are writing huge codes. Now, what I want, yeah, the other thing I wanted you guys to see is these. Now, understand this, that this is today what I'm writing code. You see, this is the library and this is SRC. This is like a project. This is a whole project which has different files which should be interlinked. The program, even if you have a web application or you have an Android application written in Java, whatever, the first place the compiler goes to is your main. You need to have a main, this function. You need to have a main. So your compiler will straight forwardly, first thing it will do is search for this main, it will go to the main. You need to do nothing, you run a program, it goes to main. Okay? So as soon as it goes to main, and then it goes inside and executes whatever inside it. Now you have multiple files. If I don't do this, if I don't call this, nothing will happen. Like it will just print hello world and nothing else will run. See, if I do this, it just printed hello world and stopped. Why? Because we never called these other files. We need to tell compiler that okay, you're done doing whatever you'll be doing here. Go to this file now, or go to this file now. Okay, and these are just different files. These are just classes. Okay, why are they just classes? Because I showed you the name of the class and the name of this file is the same. This is nothing. This is just a class. So you need to call the classes separately. Your main works on its own. The class which has main in it will work on its own. You don't need to call that one, but you need to call your other classes. Okay, and how do you call it? You make an object. You create an object to call it. How do you create an object? The syntax of creating object is, let me write it. You write the class name and then you give object name. You write equals to new and then you write class name again and you put these brackets and this is how you create your object. So the first thing is your class name. Thread example was the class name, and then I gave it a name obj. You can give it whatever name you want, this doesn't matter. Then you write equals to new. This is a keyword. This is used for creating objects, creating instances. And then you write the class name again but with brackets, and then you put semicolon. Now using this object, you can call the different methods inside this. Using this object, you can call different methods present inside this class. So there was this example. We had this public void example. So we just wrote obj.example, and what will it do? The compiler will read this and it will straight away go to obj, which is thread example. Go over here, search for example and start running it. Okay, and even over here we saw if we don't write this, nothing else will work. These are also different classes, right? These are also different classes. So you need to tell it again that if we made an object for hi, we made an object for hello, and then using that object we called those classes. Right now we are not calling this array class anywhere, so it doesn't work. So it works that way. Are you understanding how this works? Are you understanding how you can create object and then you can call different objects? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am, little bit.
Okay. So as you have now another thing that I want to show you, I'm going to give you like a proper task today. Okay, great. I'm going to give you like a task to create, multiple files, and then, you would be linking them through creating objects. So be ready for that. That's why I'm going over this. I want to show you how to format your output. Okay. Formatting your output is how on the terminal you can make whatever, you're printing look more presentable and, better. So you have println. What println does is it prints and then it goes to the next line, right? When we write println, prints and whatever the next print statement will be printed in the next line. But if I write system dot out dot print and I say, let's say yes. Now what will this do is uh, you guys see this? It printed yes and it printed hello world. It didn't go to the next line. It printed right after it. It didn't even give us space. It doesn't even give us space. It like exactly after printing this, it prints whatever is after that. Okay. So if you wanted to give a space, you would have to give an extra space over here. That then we will get an extra space. But after hello world, the next statement came in the next line. Why did it come? Because it was print ln. Ln is for next line. Okay. Now another thing you can do is you can write something. Let me see if it should work. You can write back. Now these are escape sequences. I'll show you. You can write this and you can do start debugging. And oh wait. Wait. Okay, it's throwing some error because of this. Wanted to show you guys escape sequences, right? Okay, there's some. Let me close and start my VS Code again. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. And now I'm going to give it another try. Let's see. I hope I'm not writing it wrong. Let's just search for it. See, it is backslash n, which gives you a new line. And see, these are different escape sequences that you can use in your, for formatting your output. Backslash t will give you tab, which is like 4 spaces. Backslash b gives a backspace, like removes, backspace as normally have it. And then this should give a next line. This thing you can just, these you can just ignore. To put single quotes, as you know, your output is inside double quotes, so you cannot write normally, just put quotes over here. Okay, to put quotes you use backslash single quote to put a single quote and backslash double quote to put double quotes, and then to put a backslash you use double backslash. So let me do it. It should work. If it doesn't, I'll just use an online compiler or something. See, now you see that it changed line, though was using only, 600 order print, but it still changed line because I used this. Okay, and if I give like a slash t over here, let me like put as many as I can over here, and then put double quotes. This will give me double quotes, and then I can, what else would we have? New line and single quotes. Let's put, instead of this, let's put a slash. And now if I run it, you guys see this? We got these double quotes with yes, and then because of this backslash n, it went to the next line, it printed hello, then it gave tab, it gave 4 spaces over here, right? And then it gave a backward slash because we used this. So you can use these to, format your output. You use plus, use plus, oh no. If you have like something like, let's say we had int a equals to 10, so You would just write over here plus A and printed yes, and then see we had plus A with it, with the yes, but it got printed in the next line. Why? Because over here it changed line with the backslash n. It just changed, went to the next line, and then it will execute everything else. So it printed the 10 after that, and there was nothing after that. So it just printed. There was a print, so it just printed hello with it, and then the rest of it, start working. So, and if you want to do different things, you can even do something like system dot out dot print, and then you just do a line, and then just copy this. You do this, and then you system dot out dot print ln, and you write this is the output. So you can do something like this. Now this is coming inside this kind of box. You can use these kind of lines and format your output. So I hope you're understanding how you can, even like you can search about it, how to format your output in Java, search for more escape sequences. You can use symbols with escape sequences too, as far as I remember. So do that, and I'm going to give you a task. I will be sending it pretty soon, and we'll be sharing that multi-threading file, and I want you to complete the task and make your output as presentable, as pretty as you can. Put as many SOPLN wherever it's needed to explain. Like you can write enter number, and you can give some description, or enter number and the number should be ranged between this and this, or whatever you feel is correct for that. So, and for your task, it would be like containing different programs, but they should be inside this one, in one file, and they should be linked together like this. If you're understanding what I'm saying, you will make different classes, and you will link those classes by making objects. Okay? Are you guys following what I'm saying? And then you should submit it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Huh? Uh, okay.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, I didn't understood the procedure of the assignment, ma'am. Do you want us to create three different files, or do you want us to create different methods in the same file?
You're supposed to create different classes. Okay? If you are comfortable, let me just make it clear, because I don't know what kind, like, what you guys would be comfortable with. Who all over here are comfortable with creating different classes in like these kind of different files and linking them together, because you will have to create a project and put all of these files in that project, or just create a folder, put all of these files in that folder. If you think you can do it, and I know you guys can do it. Like, if you want to give it a try, give it a try. Google about it, like, or ask me if you get stuck anywhere, or just try to figure it out, because I just showed you how to do it. I know you can, but if for some reason you feel like you're doing it and you're not able to achieve it, you can just have one file but have different classes in it. Okay? I don't want different methods. I'm asking about different classes. Different classes means how we did it over here in this one. This was a class, and this class ended over here. Okay, when this class ended, we made another class which ended over here. This is where the class ended. We had another class. So you can have multiple classes in one file. If you're not able to make classes in different files and connect them. But even when you make different classes like this, you will have to make an object and call them. Okay? Both the options are open. Just I want you guys to create different classes and link them together. And do that and make your program as presentable as possible. Tomorrow then you guys will connect through your laptops, and then we will be checking, going through everyone's output that way. Okay? So it's already over 6, so I'll just end the class. I hope everything was clear. I will be sending you the task real soon. All right?
Ma'am, drop the link of that video, please.
Sorry, can you repeat yourself?
Will you please drop the link of that YouTube video of multi-threading?
Yes, I will. I will 100%. I said that I will do it. Okay, so you guys can start leaving the class now if you don't have anything to ask.